Just be blessed.
My name is Lemuel Matagi. Many people know me as Lem. I am 25 years old. I was born in San Francisco, California on the 22nd of May, 1990. I was born and raised in the Seventh-day Adventist faith. I grew up in a Christian home. Both of my parents were actually Seventh-day Adventists. So I grew up, I was the oldest of four. I had three younger sisters. So many people would call me, overprotective sometimes. So as I grew, I've always liked to be, the other man in our family, and just decided to, take care of my sisters, watch out for them and look out for them wherever they go. As we play outside, whatever we were doing, I always liked to look out for them because that was my job. My dad, made sure that was my duty to look after my sisters. Then when I was about 8 years old, I believe in 1998, I started to take piano lessons, and I did practiced piano playing each and every day, went to lessons, and I went through about 3 teachers actually. I went on from one of my teachers to another one and to another one. And then as I continued to play, I began playing for the church. And from there on, I was just started to play hymnals and then choruses. And then I got to the point where I was just the lead piano player. And every Saturday when we go to church, everybody depended on me to play the piano for all the hymnals and for all the church. For each ministry and department, if they needed me, they would use me and ask me, can you play a song for us, please? And I'd be gladly to play a song for them. So I went on, used my talent for the Lord, because He had blessed me. There was times throughout my life when I was playing the piano, I wanted to just relax and take a break. But my parents both told me, just stay strong, and because they seen that, I was interested and I was pushing myself to practice each and every day. And they loved to see me play for the church. That was one main thing that they loved to see, was for me to use my talent for the Lord, not for myself or anything else, but for the Lord. From junior high to high school, I was really into music. I listened to all different genres of music, rock, hip hop, rap. But one genre of music that really impacted my life was hip hop and rap. I listened to a lot of rap music. I had different favorite rap artists. And the reason why is because hip hop really got me into dancing. I watched a whole bunch of music videos and started to dance on my own, and began to gather a couple friends and decided to dance together. We ended up dancing in high school, got into some dance battles with other kids in our high school, and it was really fun. We like to get down and just dance to any kind of hip hop music. And from there on out, I just really loved to dance. And then that was my first high school. I ended up moving to another high school. I got into some trouble, a couple fights, and around that time too, about 13 to 14 years old, I was introduced to marijuana actually from one of my friends. I was really influenced into using marijuana, decided to skip a few classes and with my friends go behind the railroad tracks and began using marijuana while skipping class. Ended up going back to class, really high on this drug, and decided falling asleep in class. So that ended up impacting me in my grades, and it didn't impact me in a good way. So, which is one reason why I had to move on to my other school, because I got into some trouble. And I decided to move on to my next school to be with my cousins, to play some football with them actually. And my cousins actually, got me out of this habit of skipping class and using marijuana so much. I was still using it on my own time, but not as much as I used to. So football was really a big sport that I loved to play, football and basketball. But the one sport that I did play in high school was football. I got to play with my cousins, was really a joy, because I never thought I would be playing together with my own 2 cousins. So it was really fun. And throughout high school, I just ended up playing sports, lifting weights together. After school, we would go and run around the track and run a few laps, about 20, so a few miles. We just like to stay in shape and always keep our bodies healthy. We would eat good, always work out together. We had memberships at the gym as well. We would always go and work out together, do homework together. So it was one thing that kept me busy and kept me away from drugs for a little bit. And then I was introduced back in my junior and my senior year, actually. You know, we went to prom, and then after prom, I ended up using marijuana again. Started to get back into the drug, but it didn't really affect me as much. I was still going to class. I was doing good in my school. I graduated high school in 2008, and from there on out, I decided to go to college. And I moved to Sacramento, California, and attended California University of Sacramento, and attended that school from 2008 to 2011. And there I decided I was going to major in criminal justice, actually. But that didn't end up so well because I was skipping classes again. Once I was introduced to marijuana, I began, to become addicted to this drug. I began so addicted to it to where I was going to church every Saturday, playing the piano for the church, and under the influence of marijuana. I didn't know what I was doing back then, but I didn't really care what I was doing. I decided to go. No one really knew I was under the influence except for myself, maybe a few folks. But I kept to myself and decided to just go and play the piano still. And even though I was under the influence, there was times too I would come to church hungover, do the same thing, go and play the piano, because I was the lead piano player at that time. In 2010, a young beautiful woman by the name of Opera Paino moved here, and we were introduced later on, a few months later, and she was still shy then. We decided to officially go out in the month of September in 2010. So we went out for a few more months. A year passed by, and she actually moved back to the Samoan Islands. The month of September, I believe, of 2010, we decided to actually, officially start to go out. And from there on out, we ended up staying together until now. Now we're married. We were married in the 30th of December, 2013. And I couldn't ask for any other woman to spend the rest of my life with. She's taking care of me now, taking care of our family, a strong woman in our household, and helping me raise our daughter, actually. So I'm blessed to have this woman in my life. And she reminds me of my own mom, a strong woman in the household, taking care of our family, cooking, working hard. I actually had a brain injury on the 6th of 2012, 6th of January on 2012. I was driving home from work and had this massive headache. And I decided to continue to drive. I was on my way to the bank to make a bank deposit. And then next thing I know, I blacked out behind the wheel. I was able to gain consciousness back and was able to get back out of the car. But next thing, before I know it, the paramedics got there in time to keep me from walking across the street. They got me in behind the ambulance and they got an IV in me. They were asking me a few health questions, and the last thing I remember, I was yelling out my house number to them and telling them to call my parents and let them know what's going on, because I didn't know what was going on. From there, everything went black until one day I woke up and I was in the hospital, actually. All the nurses and doctors ran up to me and asking me a whole bunch of questions. Do I remember anything? And the last thing I had to remember that I was in a car accident. And they actually said that that's not the reason why I was in the hospital. They said that I had a rare symptom, and it was a brain aneurysm. And it was something that had to do with the blood vessels and the veins in my brain. And then it ruptured in my brain, had to bleed. And next thing I know, I was paralyzed on my entire left side. And I had to get back and work hard in therapy. So from that day in 2012, a lot of the doctors actually told my parents the timetable they gave me was about 4 to 5 years until I began walking again. But within that same year that my brain injury occurred, I was actually walking with a cane. I just decided to go to therapy and just work really hard. The mentality I took was that as if I was going to work out in the gym. And that's the mentality I took as I was going to therapy, and just decided to work hard each and every day in therapy. And then next thing I know, I started began walking with the cane. In the year 2013, I was actually discharged by all my therapists because they seen I was doing so well. God's grace was surely with me and decided to give me the strength as I continued the therapy and going to the gym. And then I began taking classes again. And one day I woke up and got ready for school and decided not to use my cane. I just went to school, just started walking on my own. I felt that it would give me more strength and balance back. I threw away my cane, and ever since then I actually never got to use my cane again. I still have it home if I need it. And my wife actually at that time was not here throughout the time of my therapy and my recovery until she moved back later on that year of 2012. We always kept in contact, and she was always praying for me. A whole lot of people were actually praying for me around the world, people I didn't even know. And it was God's grace. I felt that was, with not only myself but everyone, to hear that everybody was praying for me was just a blessing. On October 3rd, 2015, I was actually baptized, and on that day, I was really hit and convicted by the Lord and decided to just leave it all behind and give my life back to the Lord. And I decided using more of myself in church. I was working with the children's ministry and decided to help out our kids. And I'm not part of the staff, but I was just a helper together with my wife. We wanted to use our daughter and take her to the children's ministry activities, and we wanted her to grow up to know God and to use her life for God. So I was also on standby and also continued to use my talent in playing piano for the church as well. I didn't stop just because of my brain injury, but I continued to play the piano when I'm needed. And I'm also, working together with the children's ministry, like I mentioned. And I'm also doing my best if I'm also needed to use my life in sharing the love of Jesus with others. Our youth has actually been handing out glow tracts, and if I had the time, I'll go and together with them and actually hand out glow tracts with them to share the love of Jesus with them as well. And because I don't want to just hold the truth in, but I want to share it with others too, because that's our job here on earth. And from there on out, I decided to just continue to use more of myself for the Lord. I'm not only working in our church, but I'm also doing my best to implement it in our home. Because I was always taught that our home is a miniature model of the church. So I will continue to have Bible studies with my family, with my wife and my sister-in-law, and also to read to our daughter, teach her the 10 Commandments, just teaching her the old stories in the Bible and providing more explanation of the real messages behind these stories, because I felt that it was really vital for our daughter to grow up and to learn more about Jesus so that she can go to church and be happy and just know that she's actually learning stuff. So I do my best to use as much as I can myself in church, especially for the children's ministry. I've been working a lot with them and helping my wife out with the music in the children's ministry, as well as the music in our entire church. In the music department, when she needs my help, I'll go and help her out. So I'm part of the piano players in our church. We have a few of them, but I like to be the one to just on standby and used whenever I'm needed. And because I do not want to have a disability to keep me from using my talent for the Lord, because He blessed me with this talent. He gave me the strength to get back on my feet, so I ought to give back to Him and use my life for Him in church, in my home, as well as in the community by sharing the love of Jesus with anybody I encounter with. My favorite verse you can find in the book of 1 John chapter 1, verses 9, and it states, if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. When I was introduced to this text, it really hit me and gave me true hope that if I were to confess each and every one of my sins that I have committed, even the smallest ones, God will forgive me as long as I'm, repent and, just give it all to Him. It gave me hope to know that, the sins that I have committed can immediately be blotted out. Say that I am blessed is an understatement, because the Lord gave me back my life and I had to do my job in giving it back to Him. So I am truly blessed to be here and testifying the good things that God has done to me. And I just want to give an encouragement to all others who are sick and those who have been hit with disability or anything else like that. To never lose hope, but just to continue to have faith and stay strong in Jesus. For He's the only one that can give you the strength to get back on your feet and to use the rest of your life for Him. And that's my goal and my plan, is to give back to God just like He gave me a second chance. For I am a miracle to be walking around still, but I'm blessed to share my story with each and every one who I encounter with and who is willing to hear my story. For it is a blessing in disguise to be here and to share anything with anybody who I meet.